In my last video upload, I let you guys know that I am buying an all-new Ford F-150 Lightning pickup. And the comment section of that video, I took a lot of heat for abandoning Toyota and buying a crappy Ford. And honestly, I expected that kind of feedback from my audience because this channel has been very heavily focused on Toyotas, and I know that Toyota fans generally aren't that fond of other brands. Well, I wanted to publish another video to set the record straight and let you guys know that at least for now, I still have the Tundra. I don't have any imminent plans to sell it. I'm still a fan of many of the new vehicles in Toyota's lineup, and I will probably own many more Toyotas in my lifetime. In fact, I currently have an order on a new Toyota that I'll be receiving in the near future. On the flip side of that, I also think that there's a lot to be said for the shift to electric vehicles. But I haven't been that much of a fan of many of the electric vehicle options that we've seen to date. A lot of them are odd, they're quirky, they're impractical. And then comes along the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is a great looking truck. It's spacious, it's practical, it's a great family vehicle. It comes with standard all-wheel drive, so it's gonna be great for driving in snowy and icy conditions, which I need. And it's also fairly reasonably priced. And so I got excited, went ahead and placed an order the night that it was first introduced. And then here we are almost 2 years later, and I've since bought the all-new Tundra, which I like. It's a great truck, as you guys have seen on this channel. I'm certainly a huge fan of it. But I decided to keep my reservation on the Lightning because it was a $100 deposit, completely refundable. So what does it hurt to just hang on to it? Well, a couple months ago, my local dealership reached out to me, said, hey, you're next in line to place your order. I took a look at the current market conditions, supply chain issues, huge shortage of new vehicles, crazy markups on new vehicles, and I thought, why not buy the Lightning? It's one of the most exciting, popular vehicles of 2022, hard to get your hands on, protected at MSRP in terms of pricing, and thought it's a complete no-brainer. I've got to buy the Lightning. Whether I keep it or not, we'll see, but I figured I've got to get it. I've got to make some videos, put it on the channel, compare it with the Tundra, and then I'll make my decision on which one to keep. Now, as I go forward and decide which of these two trucks to keep, it's really going to come down to 3 different criteria to help me decide whether to stick with the Tundra or go with the Lightning. And the first criteria is which one stirs my soul. And the reason that I say that is that I'm a car enthusiast. That's the reason that I've got this channel. That's probably the reason that you're watching this video too. I love cars and trucks and SUVs, and I don't want to drive something that's just dull and boring to me. I want to drive something that gets me a little bit excited, that puts a smile on my face when I'm driving it, that puts a smile on my face when I'm walking up to it in the parking lot, and something that I enjoy making changes to and personalizing it to my own preferences. And so that's definitely going to be a major criteria as I compare these two trucks. And it's going to be a hard one because these are two very different vehicles. They have a lot in common for sure, but there's also a lot that's very different, particularly because the Tundra is gas burning and the Lightning is electric, and those offer two very different experiences. The second criteria I'd be looking at is the cost. And when I talk about cost, I'm talking about the initial purchase price, current market value, operational costs, and resale value. All of those are going to go into consideration. I make a lot of decisions based off of what they cost. I like to make smart financial decisions. And this one is interesting. This is very likely going to be the deciding factor between the two trucks. In terms of the initial price on these two, the Tundra did come in just a few $1,000s less than the Lightning. But in the large scheme of things, when you look at the overall price, it's a pretty negligible difference between the two. But the current market value is a very different number. On the Tundra, they are in somewhat short supply right now, but you can get your hands on them. And because of that, if I wanted to sell the Tundra right now, I'd probably get pretty close to what I paid for it. Maybe a very slight chance that I could get a little bit more than I paid for it if I'm really lucky. The Lightning, on the other hand, I would definitely make money if I sold it right now. They are in very short supply. They're nearly impossible to get a hold of. And the ones that are listed for sale right now are way more expensive than MSRP. And so that is definitely a very compelling option. Of course, we've also got the operational costs, which will likely be far lower on the Lightning. Electric vehicles have less ongoing maintenance costs. They should be more reliable, although that's a little bit in question still since electric vehicles are relatively new. And then obviously in terms of fuel costs, the Tundra is way more expensive to fuel than the Lightning, given that the Lightning is electric. Electricity is a lot cheaper than gasoline, especially right now with, you know, $150 to $200 fill-ups in the Tundra. But if I can sell the Lightning for a lot more than I paid for it, that also gives me a pretty healthy gas budget to work with. So there's kind of two different sides to that coin. The other thing that I've really enjoyed about the Lightning loaner that I've got right now is that there are a lot of free fueling stations around town. How weird would that be if you could drive around your Tundra and, you know, when you go to the store, they're like, oh, here you go, have a free gallon of gas. It's kind of a weird concept to me, but I like it for the electric vehicle. And then last, we've got resale value. And resale value could be interesting between these two trucks. Generally, the F-150 and the Tundra both have strong resale values. I would say the Tundra has slightly better resale value. In general, Toyotas just have better resale value than Fords. But this is different because the F-150 is electric, and generally electric vehicles have pretty poor resale value. So there's a possibility that the Lightning will have really bad resale value, but I also feel like we're at this interesting point in the market, kind of a tipping point, going from gasoline vehicles to electric vehicles, where potentially the Tundra could have really bad resale value if gas prices continue to spike, or if the market really continues to shift to electric. It's possible that people won't want gasoline vehicles. I think it's kind of unlikely at this point. Certainly, you know, with the lifespan of this vehicle, that may not be entirely true. That may be more true in, say, 10 or 15 years from now. But it's definitely a factor that I'm considering. If gas prices stay at $6 a gallon or $7 a gallon or continue to rise, if people really do shift to electric vehicles, there may be less interest in buying gasoline vehicles, and that could affect the resale value on the Tundra. My guess is that the Tundra will have better resale value than the Lightning, but again, there's a lot of factors to consider. And then the third criteria to consider is you guys, because it's important to me that I'm producing content that you guys want to watch. And I know that my audience is very heavily Toyota focused. I kind of did that to myself because I've owned a lot of Toyotas in recent years. But I feel like, hey, maybe you guys are interested in seeing something new as well. Maybe you're not. We'll find out depending on how these videos do. I do think that because Toyota doesn't offer an electric option for a full-size pickup right now, it should be interesting to you guys. And my guess, based on what I've seen with the Lightning so far, is that it is a great truck. There's a lot to love about it. And I think it's going to be a huge sales success. And if it's a huge sales success, you know what that means next. That means Toyota is going to be coming out with a full electric Tundra. They've kind of toyed with the idea or teased the possibility of coming out with one. We don't know what that timeline looks like right now, but I am hoping that it's sooner than later. So that's an overview of my thinking process and how I arrived here with the Lightning and the Tundra. And certainly I'm looking forward to the opportunity to experience both of these trucks side by side and kind of weigh the different advantages and disadvantages to each. As I mentioned, I've got a new Toyota coming in the near future. That is actually going to be for my wife. So I'm not making any decision until that gets here. Once that gets here, then I'll decide whether I want to keep the Lightning or the Tundra. The plan in the meantime is just to make a lot of videos while I've got both trucks, and we will go from there. So hope you guys will stick around for the ride. For more Lightning and Tundra content, be sure to subscribe. And in the meantime, thanks for watching.